I'm Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Good morning, this is Jonathan Small, host and producer of All About You. This program is broadcast every week at AccessTV.org studios in downtown Hartford. This program is designed to give the guest a chance to give his or her a life story. This morning, I have a very prominent figure in the state of Connecticut. She has recently been appointed the new Associate Attorney General's position. The Associate Attorney General Attorney for the state of Connecticut. My guest this morning is Associate Attorney Antoria D. Good morning, Antoria.
Good morning. Good morning, Jonathan.
Okay. Could you kind of let people know exactly where you were born and raised?
Sure. I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay.
And I attended high school there, and I came up to New England for college. I went to Mount Holyoke College up in South Hadley, Massachusetts. And then I came to Connecticut and attended the University of Connecticut School of Law for law school, and ended up being employed in Connecticut and staying here.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, what was it like growing up in Baltimore?
It was good. I had a good a good childhood. I lived in the city, of course. My mom was a single parent for a good part of my life, and she was a young mom. But I loved school. I always loved school. And at the age of 13, I got an opportunity to go. I got a scholarship to a boarding school, which is out on the outskirts of Baltimore. And I didn't really want to go, but my mother saw it as an opportunity. And now I'm glad I did it, of course. So I attended that school for 4 years on full scholarship, and then was able to get into Mount Holyoke College, which is a very good college. And from there, I think, I'm here now. So, yeah. But Baltimore is interesting. I get back there, I still have family there. My mother is still there, and my brother and aunts and uncles and cousins. So I get down there a little bit to visit. So.
Now, when you were growing up in Baltimore, what made you decide that you wanted to go into, I guess, law school eventually?
Law. My mother always tells the story that when I was about 7 or 8 years old, I always used to watch Perry Mason. And I know a lot of young kids don't know Perry Mason. They may know it in reruns. But she said I used to always watch Perry Mason, and I'd look at the TV and say, I'm going to be a lawyer. I want to be a lawyer. And, of course, there and living in the projects, which we did. And, my mom would just pat me and say, sure you do, honey, But just by the grace of God, I was able to do it. But I guess I've always had that desire to become a lawyer and do it. Now I'm not doing any Perry Mason stuff, but but I enjoy law, and I always, for as long as I can remember, that was something that I wanted to do. So.
Now, you mentioned that you grew up in the projects. Was that kind of unique for somebody growing up in the projects to want to become a lawyer?
I don't think so. I mean, I think kids should aspire to be what they want to be, and I truly believe that they can do whatever they want to do. I always, like I said, I always enjoyed school. I loved reading. Don't do so much now, but I loved reading, and I loved going to school, and I just knew that I wanted a profession, and I wanted a career, and to do something that inspired me. So I wanted to do that. So I don't think it's odd, and I really hope that kids or any kids watching this or living in the projects or will aspire to do great things, and I'm sure that they can.
I'm just asking, like, when you was growing up in Baltimore, did a lot of your friends or the people that you knew in the projects was telling you that they wanted to go off to college and they wanted to get into law or any other high-level profession?
Not really. Not really. And it's interesting to see. Well, some of them, some of my friends did succeed and do well, but no, not really. They didn't really say that. And when I got the opportunity to go to this high school, they just encouraged me. I knew you could do it. I knew, and I would look at them and say, well, you can too, But But no, they weren't really, saying that. But some of them have done really well, the ones I've kept in touch with. And so.
Okay.
And some of them not so well.
Not so well. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you went to Holyoke College. That's
Mount
in,
Holyoke.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mount Holyoke. Okay. Now where is that geographically
It's in
located?
South Hadley, Massachusetts, which is about 45 minutes up 91.
Okay.
It's an all-women's college, and it's part of the 5-college consortium, which consists of Mount Holyoke College, Hampshire College, Smith College, which is another all-female college, University of Massachusetts, and we could take classes at all of the colleges up there. So, yeah.
Now, was it easy when you was going to college? Did you say the grades and studying? Was that something simple?
It wasn't easy.
Okay. Okay.
I'll just put it that way. It wasn't easy. My first semester there, I was kind of anxious and excited about being away from home and being away from Baltimore. So, and I was used to being a straight A student, and I remember getting my first semester grades, and I saw like 3 C's and a B, and I went, and I thought about all the partying I had been doing on the weekends. So I buckled down after that, and I got pretty decent grades at Mount Holyoke, and was able to get into law school. But it wasn't easy. It was it's a challenging college. So, but I really enjoyed my time there, and I'm still pretty active in the alumni association there. So.
Now, after Mount Holyoke, you went to which college?
University of Connecticut School of Law. So I came down here to Hartford. At the time, it was actually in West Hartford, where the West Hartford campus, UConn campus, is now. It was there, and I was able to get into that school. They awarded me some money, so that was one of the primary reasons why I attended UConn, and spent 3 years there, and was able to matriculate. So.
Now, after UConn, what profession did you move into after that period?
After UConn, I became an associate for a solo practitioner who was here in Hartford, actually, right, downtown Hartford. His name was Rudy Arnold. He was on the city council, and he had a firm with a partner, and he split off with his partner and was basically going solo. So he hired me as an associate. I was there for 3 years, I believe, doing all kinds of civil practice, and it was really interesting. He was doing what he needed to do, getting business into the firm, and I was doing a lot of different things and learning a lot. I always say that law school really doesn't teach you how to become a lawyer. You actually learn when you're out there. Right. So I learned a lot in those 3 years doing that.
Now, after this period of time, you've kind of been in the Northeast. You say Mount Holyoke in Connecticut.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you have any interests or desires of going back to Baltimore or Maryland?
A little. Like I said, I go back to visit. It's changed so much. It's changed drastically. I enjoy the Northeast now, despite all the snow we've been having. I do enjoy it. I consider it my home now. I got married and have kids, and so they're all here and settled in the now. As far as retirement, maybe, but right now I do consider Connecticut my home, and my mother enjoys coming here. So, but I thought about it at one point, but I was able to find employment here. I actually, when I was applying to law schools, I did apply to law schools in Maryland and got in, but because of finances, again, I was unable to attend. And like I said, UConn allowed me, with scholarship money and loans to attend. So that was, one of the reasons why I didn't go back to Maryland. So.
Okay. Now, there's a lot of theories in some occupations that in the way we promote society is who you know, that if you know the right person, you could always get the right job. But when you are aspiring to be a lawyer, you have to pretty much know what you're doing. I mean, you can't just expect to get appointed associate attorney general because you know the attorney general. You have to know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I hope I didn't. I know I didn't get appointed because I know him, because I didn't really know him.
Right.
When I started at the Attorney General's office in 1997. I was an assistant attorney general in the public safety unit. We have approximately 14 different departments, and I was in the public safety department doing representing Department of Correction and the state police. And I spent several years there, and then the Attorney General Blumenthal at the time, now Senator Blumenthal, decided to start an employment department, which was a whole new department he started in 2001. And he tapped my then department head, Margaret Chappell, who is also an Associate Attorney General now, to head that unit. And I came with her to that unit, and another Assistant Attorney General from my department, and other assistant attorney generals from various other departments established the employment rights unit, and we spent, I did that. And then in 2011, after Attorney General Jepsen was elected, he appointed me as a department head of that employment rights unit. And then just recently in November of last year, he appointed me as an Associate Attorney General. And one of the things he said was that, he had heard about me and I've done good things, and I had done a great job at the AG's office. So, and I believe that I have. Yeah. So, I think that was one of the reasons why I was appointed. I mean, a lot of people say you have to know people, to get certain places, but I believe that, sometimes that is true. Yes. However, if you work really hard, and, I believe that you will be recognized and your hard work will be recognized.
Well, I just kind of asked you that question or address that comment because, you had to go through a process to go through college, law school, and be persistent, with whether it was hard or whether it was easy. Yeah. And I think you started off, I believe, as an assistant in the Attorney General's office. Yes. That we have approximately about almost 200 lawyers in our office, and most of them are assistant attorney generals. We have various levels of assistant attorney generals. You start off as a 1 and you progress to a 4. And then there is there are 4 associate attorney generals, and then there's 1 deputy. I believe you interviewed him, Gary Zenrothorn. And then we have the attorney general, George Jepsen. But yeah, I started off as an assistant attorney general in the public safety department. As I stated, we have 14 different departments, and each department represents certain state agencies. And like I was able to, being in the employment department, we represented basically all state agencies. So I was able to do and get to know a lot of the commissioners in state agencies and employees of various state agencies. And I stayed at Assistant Attorney General and just until recently, even though I progressed to department head, you're still an Assistant Attorney General. So, yeah. But you're still technically considered one of 4 Associate Attorney Generals?
Yes, and I am the Associate Attorney General for Administration and Management. That's my full title, if you will. We have an Associate Attorney General for Litigation. And then we have an Associate Attorney General who handles contracts, and then we have an Associate Attorney General who is our Solicitor General. He does a lot of the appeals for the agency.
Now, let's just say at some particular point, George Jepsen, our Attorney General here in Connecticut, decides that he wants to move on, and then the Deputy Attorney General takes his position. Would you be in line for the Deputy's Attorney position?
It's an appointed position.
Okay.
It's an appointed position. And Attorney General Jepsen appointed me. I mean, tomorrow he may say, I want someone else in that in that position. So it is an appointed position, which I recognized when he asked me to accept that position. So the associate positions are appointed by the Attorney General, and the deputy is also an appointed position.
Okay. But I mean, if the opportunity ever came that he decided that he would like to appoint you to be Deputy Attorney General, would you take that position?
Of course.
I just want to ask you to make sure.
Perry, I have no designs on your job, but of course, it's always exciting and to be asked and to take a step up, if you will. It's always exciting to move on and do different things.
But you love what you're doing right now.
I love what I'm doing. I'm still fairly new in the job, and I'm still doing a little bit of what I used to do with litigation. I've enjoyed litigation for so many years, and when I was appointed, the Attorney General and the deputy said to me, well, you can continue to do some of the stuff, that you used to do. So I still have my hands on a few cases that I'm still working on, but I'm getting to know this job and develop this job.
Okay. Well, pretty much we're going to take a break for the first part of this show, and then we'll come back with the second part. Right. Again, this is Jonathan Small hosting all of About You. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
Pitch your business.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Paul Willis, host of the Grassroots Business Journal on accesstv.org. We have a segment called Pitch Your Business, where small business owners have the opportunity to give a 3-minute elevator pitch about their business. If you are a small business owner, need to get the word out about what you offer, then you need to put a face with your business on the Grassroots Business Journal segment, Pitch Your Business. You can contact me, Paul Willis, at 860-490-8856 or email me at pcwillis@gmail.com. Get worldwide business exposure, be seen on the social media links like Facebook or Twitter. So pitch your business, the place for small business marketing needs.
Okay, this is Jonathan Small again, hosting All About You. I have today as my special guest an Associate Attorney General, Antoria Howard. Antoria, as an African-American woman holding a high level of position, do you feel a sense of, inspiration for other people growing up as African-American women that you have been able to reach a high level?
Absolutely. I've always felt that way. And I have served as a mentor to young women. I always believe that, you should always reach back and help those who are basically in the same position that you were, because people helped me to get where I am. So I tend to mentor young women. I've mentored young women at my old high school in Maryland, African-American young girls at Mount Holyoke College, in my church. There is a group called the Daughters of Esther in my church, which is a First Cathedral in Bloomfield, and mentor young ladies there. I've mentored young ladies there, and just young attorneys that I've met throughout the way, along the way, that will call me or just reach out, or I'm considering law school, and so I'll just meet them and try to help them in any way that I can. Definitely, I do feel an obligation and to help.
Yes. Now, if you look back in history, maybe let's say 50 years ago, how many, African American women's associate attorney generals you think had existed?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't believe there were any.
Right.
Just from the recent past, since I've been in the office and recently prior to that. I remember when I graduated from law school and working for Attorney Arnold and going to court the first time in what's called short calendar, where you show up and argue motions, and walking into the courtroom and being maybe one of 5 women and then the only African American in the courtroom. And that was, over 20 years ago. Thankfully, that has improved. I mean, you still don't see a lot of African Americans doing a lot of litigation, but it has improved, definitely. So, but I don't know about another Associate Attorney General.
I tried to do some research, and I couldn't really find any from 50 years ago. So.
Right.
But I think we're kind of in the era, and this is Black History Month, that the excuses of the word can't, when you have the first African-American president, you've had African-American governors, senators, owners, billionaires, self-made billionaires. So would you feel today we're in an era that you can't really use the word can't?
I never like to use that in my vocabulary, and I try to teach my kids and the young women that I do mentor that, don't say that. You have to believe that you can do anything that you want to do. I mean, we have the first African American president. However, there's still, I believe, still racism out there and still, prejudice going on. However, we have come a long way, not far enough, and there's still miles to go. But I believe that we should not, as a people, use that word can't, because I believe that, if you put your mind to it, and you can do what you want to do.
Now, when people look at what you're doing on your job, do you think sometimes they might look at you just as an African-American woman, or they look at you as a prominent associate attorney or general?
I would hope they would look at me as a prominent associate attorney general. I think a lot of people there have seen my career and have watched me progress through the office. I remember as I was getting promoted through the office, I did hear things, about, why is she being promoted? Is she being promoted because she's African American or whatever? So that did occur, several years ago. But however, I believe I had my record to show that I've earned every single promotion that I've gotten at that office. I've tried many cases to trial, jury trials, court trials. I love litigation, as I stated, and I believe I've proved myself, and I belong where I am.
Yes.
No, I'm not tooting my own horn, but
Right.
I believe
Uh-huh.
I believe that I've earned it, and I should be where I am, and I'm excited about the job. And excited that Attorney General Jepsen has given me the opportunity to take this job and kind of mold it and do what I want to do with the job. So,
Now, your job as Associate Attorney General, what typical hours do you have to work throughout the day and throughout the week?
I usually get into the office between 8:30 and 9, and I usually leave between 5:30 and 6. Many times I don't take a lunch. I'm sitting at my desk or working. Usually weekends, I really don't have to do much on weekends, except if like I said, if I'm working on a trial or working on a case from my old department, which I did do a trial with another assistant attorney general a couple of weeks ago. We would have some weekend hours, but mostly there are really no weekend hours, and it's a pretty decent schedule, but you work hard while you're there.
Yes.
During that time. Yeah.
So your job consists that you have to travel throughout the country?
No, not yet.
Okay. All right.
I don't believe I have to travel. I'm doing in charge of training for our lawyers, and I send them to training around the country. And I have gone to a couple of one training actually out in Texas. But for the job, I don't believe I will have to do any traveling.
Okay. Right.
Unless George tells me differently.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you're a member of the largest mega church in New England, the First Cathedral Church.
Yes, I am.
What is that like, being a member of that large mega congregation that exists? Yeah.
I've been a member there since New Year's Eve 1995, and when it was the First Baptist Church over on Greenfield Street in Hartford. And I remember attending for several months before I joined, because in Baltimore I came from a little storefront church, if you will. My grandfather was a minister, and we had a little storefront church. So when I went to First Baptist at the time, I thought it was huge. Oh my goodness, I can't stay here, but I kept coming back, and then when we moved to Bloomfield, to this, as you call it, mega church, it's huge. It's a big church, but the people are really nice. The people are loving, and our Archbishop Leroy Bailey, he's just a gift, and he's just a really nice and loving, caring person. So yeah, and I enjoy it. I sing in the choir there. I love singing. So I'm pretty active there. So.
And that also gives you a kind of balanced, I guess, a spiritual faith that you
have
to have.
Oh gosh, yes, you have to have that. At least I do. It's gotten me, where I am. It's kept me calm, and I truly believe that I am where I am because of my faith, and it's gotten me through. So.
Now, you mentioned that you go back to your hometown, Baltimore, quite often. What is it like now to go back, knowing that you came from the projects to an associate attorney general? I mean, do you feel a sense of inspiration for other people in the area?
Yeah, absolutely. I was back last month for Martin Luther King Day, and I did speak at my high school speak to African American young ladies there, and absolutely, I just feel an inspiration, not just to others, but to my family members also. I have young cousins, and I was the first in my family to attend college. And I make sure that I tell them that you're going to college, you have to go to college, and you have to, succeed. So definitely I feel proud when I go back. Of course, my mother tells everybody when I'm coming to town, but it's definitely an inspiration, and then I has to stand back sometimes. It's like, wow, and I look at where I came from to where I am now. It's kind of, it awes me sometimes.
I think also that kind of makes you not actually forget where you come from, that you go back home quite often.
My grandmother always said, never forget where you came from. So the people you meet on the way up are the same people you meet on the way down. So, I've always lived by that and try to be nice to people, no matter who you are. I've tried to be kind, and I believe it serves me well. It's gotten me. It's one of the things George said when he asked me to take the position. He says, and everybody likes you, he says. Yes. I went, really? So I've just tried to, live by, treat people the way you want to be treated.
Now, your position, do you have to stay abreast on politics, statewide issues? I mean, when you have a position that you have?
A little bit. Now that the position I'm in, I've always taken an interest in politics, if you will. I don't want to be a politician, but I majored in political science in college. So I've always kept abreast of the current issues that are going on, in the city and in the state. Here in Hartford, when I lived in Hartford. So in this position, it is an election year. Attorney General Jepsen is running again this year. So, have to be a little bit abreast of what's going on with the various issues.
Well, I mean, do your position has to go down to the Capitol or the LOB building?
No, not really.
Okay.
No, with my position, I really don't have to politic, if you will,
Okay.
do that. Which is good.
Yes. Do you have a staff of people that actually work under you?
Well, we have of course support staff. We have and then we have the departments that are under us. And each department, 14 departments, has a department head. And each department consists of several assistant attorney generals, paralegals, and support staff.
Now, the Attorney General, George Jepsen, I mean, do you get a chance to interact with him throughout the week?
All the time.
All the time? Okay.
His office is right across from mine, and he'll come out this little side door and just step in, and how are you, and what's going on, and he came in last night before he left, and I said, I'm doing that interview tomorrow.
Okay.
But he's really a great guy. He's very down to earth, as you know. And he's just there. He knows all of the staff. He knows their names, from the secretary on up, which is absolutely wonderful. And when his administration came in, it really brought a breath of fresh air to the agency. Yeah, he's a great guy. So.
Yes. Well, this position that you was recently appointed, it just took place, I believe, last year?
November 1st.
Okay.
November 1st of 2013. Yes, absolutely. So I've been in it for a couple of months, getting to still know the position and know the people, and so. But it's interesting. It's a change from doing litigation from what I was used to doing, and less stress, which is good.
Well, did you have any idea that your name was in the running? Are you
No.
sort of new to you?
No, it was new. You know how you hear certain things, and even when he appointed me department head in 2011, department head of employment rights, I really, was not in the running, so to speak. I've never, and I always tell people, I've never applied for any promotion I've gotten there.
Okay.
It's come to me.
It's come to you. Okay.
So that's why I say I believe that people have seen my work and acknowledged it and recognized my work. I never lobbied for anything. I didn't lobby for this. When he called me on a Friday afternoon at 10:05 and said, "Come upstairs," I'm like, why? But it was an honor. It's been an honor, at every promotion I've gotten. It's just been an honor. And, so I want to continue to serve the state of Connecticut and do a good job.
Do a good job. So that kind of answers my next question. You don't want to go back to Maryland to take, if like a job offer came that you can come back to your hometown, you wouldn't take it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. Like I said, I've been here for years now, and I consider Connecticut my home. I've worked for the state now. Before I came to the Attorney General's office, I actually worked at the Department of Public Health, so I've been in the state for a long time, entrenched in the state government. So I don't think I would take a position anywhere else. I'm hoping this is my position I will retire in, I hope.
Yes.
So.
And actually, I hope one day you do actually become the Attorney General.
Oh, geez.
If that opportunity ever arises, and that's what you really want to do, I think that would be a great inspiration to other people. I had enjoyed this conversation with you here this morning. Is there any last words you would like to leave people out there about, your job or your life?
I just, you asked about, being a role model, or and I do strive to do that, and I want to, a lot of people don't want that title, role model, but I take it seriously, and I have gotten to where I am, I think, because of a lot of factors, and I believe I like to inspire young people, especially young ladies. So if you're out there and you're listening, call me or email me, and we can talk.
Well, again, I had enjoyed this conversation with you. This was a very inspirational show, and hopefully I can meet you again sometime in the near future.
Of course.
Okay, this is Jonathan Small. This morning my host was the Associate Attorney General, Antoria Howard. I had enjoyed doing this show. This program and other programs can always be seen throughout the week on accesstv.org network. And as I tell you every single week, for people out there, have a very blessed day and keep the faith. Thank you.